What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to the channel. NFL Cowboys news today. We've got some major news that's going to shake things up. A huge reveal from rookie linebacker Demarvion Overshown, who recently shared some jaw-dropping thoughts about the Dallas Cowboys locker room and the way the players felt about head coach Mike McCarthy. Now, this isn't just a typical off-season story. We're talking about what some would consider a bombshell, folks. Demarvion recently opened up about a time when things were rocky within the Cowboys camp. And let me tell you, it's not pretty. He said something that could change the way we view Mike McCarthy's tenure as head coach of America's team. Did the players really not believe in Mike McCarthy? Was there tension between the head coach and the locker room? We're diving into all of that and more, so make sure you're sticking around till the end of the video, because you won't want to miss this one. Before we get into Demarvion's comments, let's take a quick look at the context. Mike McCarthy's tenure as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys has been, well, let's just say it hasn't been without its ups and downs. When McCarthy was hired back in 2020, there was a mix of excitement and skepticism. McCarthy, a Super Bowl-winning head coach with the Green Bay Packers, was supposed to be the answer to the Cowboys' postseason woes. After the firing of Jason Garrett, the team was looking for a fresh start. But here's the thing: McCarthy wasn't exactly a fan favorite from the jump. Sure, he had a championship pedigree, but there were also questions about whether he could adapt his style to the modern NFL. When McCarthy first addressed the media as the new head coach, he emphasized a new era of leadership, promising to bring stability and discipline to a team that had been underperforming for years. But not everyone in the locker room was convinced. Fast forward to 2022, and McCarthy's first 2 seasons were a mixed bag. There were moments of brilliance, like when the Cowboys won the NFC East in 2021 and made the playoffs in 2022. But let's be honest, there were also playoff disappointments that left fans and analysts alike scratching their heads. After all, the Cowboys haven't made it past the divisional round since the 1995 season. Despite these setbacks, McCarthy kept his job. And honestly, that's when the pressure really started to build. When you're in the most scrutinized coaching job in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys head coach, you don't just get a free pass. Success is expected, and that pressure can affect relationships within the organization. Now, let's get into the meat of this story. Demarvion Overshown, the Cowboys' promising rookie linebacker, recently revealed some surprising truths about the culture inside the Cowboys locker room. During a candid interview, Demarvion admitted that there were moments when the players didn't believe in Mike McCarthy. Think about that for a second. A rookie linebacker is essentially telling us that the Cowboys players were questioning their head coach's leadership. Wow! In the interview, Demarvion didn't mince words. He said there were a lot of people who were unsure about Coach McCarthy early on. There were doubts. Some guys were asking, is this the guy who's going to get us to the next level? Now, this is where it gets really interesting. McCarthy is not the type of coach to back down from criticism. He's known for his self-confidence and his ability to make tough decisions. But clearly, the players weren't always sold on his methods, especially in the early days of his reign. And while it's not unusual for players to question a new coach, the fact that Demarvion is now openly acknowledging these doubts speaks volumes about the internal dynamics of the team at the time. So, what were these doubts about McCarthy's leadership? Was it his ability to motivate the team? Was it his play calling? Or was it simply the fact that the Cowboys had been underachieving for so long? Let's break it down. A big part of McCarthy's reputation comes from his offensive schemes. The Cowboys have a loaded offense. You've got Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and a head coach who had a successful offensive background in Green Bay. But in Dallas, the play calling often felt a bit stale. The creativity that we saw from McCarthy in Green Bay didn't quite translate to the Cowboys' offense, and that led to some frustration. But it wasn't just the offense. McCarthy's entire approach to team management and culture was questioned. In a place like Dallas, with so many star players and massive expectations, the coaching style has to connect with the players. And early on, that connection didn't seem to be there. Players like Demarvion Overshown likely came into a situation where they were expecting immediate success. This is, after all, the Dallas Cowboys. But what they got was a head coach still trying to find his footing, a coaching staff that didn't always seem cohesive, and a fan base that was growing impatient with every missed opportunity. So, how did McCarthy turn it around? The answer lies in trust. Over time, McCarthy made adjustments to his approach. He became more engaged with the players, listening to their concerns, and making efforts to establish a deeper rapport with the locker room. McCarthy also started leaning more into the strengths of his players. The emergence of Dak Prescott as a leader on the field helped McCarthy feel more confident in his ability to lead the team. And importantly, McCarthy was able to create a more cohesive atmosphere where the players started buying into his vision. And let's not forget, McCarthy did make one of the most crucial decisions for the future of the team when he handed over the offensive play-calling duties to Kellen Moore, which helped spark some better offensive performances. Another important factor in this turnaround was the role of key players on the roster. Players like Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, and even veterans like Tyron Smith started to buy into McCarthy's leadership, which had a trickle-down effect throughout the team. When you have a core group of players who believe in the head coach, it can really change the culture in the locker room. As much as the coaches can push, it's the players who truly make the difference in how the team responds. One of the most significant developments in McCarthy's relationship with the players came in the form of team meetings and personal one-on-one conversations. Over time, McCarthy's genuine desire to build relationships with his players started to win over those who were once skeptical. Now, with Demarvion Overshown's comments in mind, what does this all mean for the future of the Cowboys? Are they set to finally break through and become a true Super Bowl contender under Mike McCarthy? Here's the thing: McCarthy's future with the Cowboys is still very much in the spotlight. Yes, he's managed to win over many of his players, but in the NFL, winning is everything. The Cowboys need to make it past the divisional round, and they need to prove that McCarthy's leadership can take them all the way to a championship. As always, it's going to come down to results. And with a talented roster led by Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons, the pressure is on McCarthy to deliver. But the fact that he's managed to win over the locker room speaks volumes about his ability to adjust and grow as a leader. So, what do you think, Cowboys Nation? Were you surprised to hear that the players didn't believe in Mike McCarthy at first? Do you think he's turned it around, or is the jury still out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Cowboys locker room dynamics, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insider info. We've got a lot more content coming your way, especially as we get closer to the next season. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!